Right, so we have, always read, right? We have 40 trees here and the heights in meters. So if you wanted to show a little bit of work, sorry, one variable stats. If you want to do that, that's fine. I type all of that in. But to get the mean here, we would essentially just write down 2.18 meters. If you got that right, you have 2.18 meters. The median would be 2.25 meters. And the mode is 2.4 meters. If you went through, it shows up 5 times, right? If you went through your sorted list, and the range is 3.3 to minus 1.1, so that's 2.2 meters is my range. So that's all I need to do. There was a time where I made students do this all by hand, and I realized that that's not the point of this unit. The point of this unit is to get that information and then see how we can interpret what the data is trying to tell us. We're more interested in the distribution of data points. So how would the marks be allocated? Well, 1 mark for each. So 4 marks for this page, that's it. Yeah. If you didn't, then just take out half a mark. Yeah. No, you don't have to put this on. I'm just letting you know. Yeah. If what? What, you used more than 2 decimals, or more than 2? That's fine. As long, like, money is the only one that the province always wants 2 decimals. If it's money. But other than that, doesn't matter. So more is better. 1 is not good, right? If it's only 1 decimal. Next page. And I already got it started because it just takes too long, right? So I got you started with this. If you ever run into troubles where you don't have enough slots and you can add slots and so forth, right? You got to look at your lowest and your highest entry to know where to start, like all those things. If you did the homework, those are a few things that you kind of start thinking about before you just dive in, right? And this is the frequency that I got. I'm just going to do a quick check. This is 10, 10 and 8, 18, 20, 21, 22, and 24. And you just count 4 times 6, right? So 24, are we talking days, right? 24 days that information was collected over, right? And so always check, did I get this right? If you put 1 in the wrong slot, that is not as, I mean, you would probably lose half a mark, but just make sure you don't miss a full entry, right? Yeah. You got a different? Okay. And I talked about, right, if 1 falls in between, you always put it in the lower bracket, right? So 5 and 5, because, yeah. I'm just going to leave it at that. Just make sure you do that, okay? Next, so to create your histogram, you need to somehow have a consistent scale, right? I'm just looking at what I had here. You can actually go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No zipper required here, right? You don't need that zipper because you're starting 0 and you're going up by 1 consistently, so you're good. And I want to make sure that I can fit in that 7 up here. That's the greatest frequency I need to account for. So 2, 4, 6, 8 will do it, okay? And so from 0 to 1 you have 2. From 1 to 2 you have 3. And then so forth, right? You get the picture. 7. and the bars should have the same width. 6 and then 4 to 5 is 2. I will try on the newer ACs. I'm going to try to have a grid on there, so it's not right. Like it's hard to just go from scratch, and if you're like me, I like making anything look good when it comes to graphing is tough, right? So this is 1, and then another 1, and 7 to 8 is 2. So there you have it. That's what it should look like. That's a histogram. It has labels and units. It has the appropriate scale. The bars are touching. Obviously, if there had been a 0 bar, then obviously it would just, right, it would just not be visible, and that's something that does happen quite often. Next, marks, right? You're like, what are we getting for this? Well, I would say to fill in this whole thing, normally I give you 2 marks for that. I gave you a little bit of a start, so it may not have been as difficult, but I would give you 2 marks for filling that in correctly. And then I would give you, for a graph like this, probably another 2 as well for that. So 4 marks for question 2. How's that? I just want to you need to understand this. I can tomorrow give the same AC to you and just say, I want 12 intervals. I want 12, not 10, or not 8, sorry. I want 12. So what would that do to this graph? Well, the bars would be narrower and there would be more of them, right? That's all. So, and the graph would look a little different, a little smoother perhaps, right? Instead of so choppy, right? The more bars you put in, the smoother the differences become usually. For the next one, okay, so here's where this is probably a bit more complicated, right? But to find the mean, median, sorry, the mean, the standard deviation, and n, do you know what n is? The total number of values. We sometimes refer to it as the sample size. You should write it down, even though I'm gonna give this back to me. I'll mention that again in our notes so it's there. But you need to find the midpoints. So you finding the midpoints gets you 1 mark. You finding the midpoints gets you 1 full mark. Then you need to enter that into, do you remember that? To get these guys, it's 1 variable stats, and it's L1, L2, right? Like, so the midpoints are entered into L1, and the frequencies are entered into L2. Okay. So what do you get for average? I actually didn't calculate this because I just added that. It'll take me a little while, so should I just go with what you guys got? If I get 3 answers that are the same, then I'll go with it. What do we get for average? 3.5? 2.5? Do we have nods? 2.5? Okay. And what are we talking about here? Hours, right? Okay. And my standard deviation? Jeremy, let's go with you. 1.01. I can always go back and correct it later, right? I will check. What is n if I add all these up? 30. Okay. Yeah. 10. 20. Yeah. 30. Yes. If you didn't put days today, that's fine. But it's 30. The frequency that the data is accumulating is 30, right? Okay, so you would get 2 marks for that because you have to go L1 and L2, all of those things. So 2 marks for that. So 1 for the midpoints, 2 for figuring this out. And now to graph this, how would we go about it? From 0.5 to 1, this is my 0.5 to 1 right here. It's in between, right? So if you want to do the bars first, go for it, but I'm gonna probably skip that part. There are 0, from 0.5 to 1, there's 0 there. And then from 1 to 1.5, I have 4. And then I have 6. And then I have 7. And then I have 8 between 2.5 and 3. That should have been 8. Sorry, I gotta go backtrack. 1 at 1.5. Between there is 4. Then I have between these two is 6. So that's the one I missed. Okay. And then between 2 to 2.5 is 7. Somewhere in there. And then between 2.5 and 3 is 8. Should probably be a bit lower. 7 is right about there. And then between 3 and 3.5, that would be right in between. That's 1. And then 1. And then 1. And then 0. And then 2. Right? So connecting those would give you your polygon. Because I calculated, right, like I will show you here the trick. Remember, you need to start and end with 0. Right? The trick is I use along the x-axis, I'm actually going with this, right? To go up by that increment, that's the way you want to go. Okay, so another 2 marks for that graph. So 2 and 2 is 4 plus 1 is 5. So this page is 9. This page is worth 9. And then the front is 4, so that's 13 total, right? So get rid of that 15 there. It's 13 total. Name and last name. Oh, hold on. You'll keep this one. You keep this one.